Adrian, hello, my name is Kevin. I am the Diaper Man, and I just wanted to thank you very much for clicking onto this video, this channel. You didn't have to, but you did. And I'm greatly thanking you and appreciate you for doing that, because you could click on any other video, on any other review. You may have watched them, but now you're listening to mine, so thank you for that. Enough with all that. Now it's time for the review of The Batman. The Batman, it is directed by Matt Reeves, and it stars so many people I'm just not even going to name. But we obviously do know who's starring as Batman. That's Robert Pattinson, along with some very interesting choices for certain characters. I'll get a little bit more into that. But first, let me just make a disclaimer onto this video for if you want to be curious about if this is a movie you should watch or should not watch. Here is some very basic things I believe you should know before going to this movie. So if you have short time attention, ADHD or something like this may not be the movie for you. It's also a movie not for children or teenagers, I believe, in my mind. Young teenagers, maybe some older ones, possibly. But again, I'm not so sure of the audience, because so much of the audience has been derived off of the Disney Marvel type action films. So when we are so used to seeing those types of films, I do not believe many people will be expecting to see this type of film. We have seen previous DC films, so they go extremely dark. We have seen them range from like Aquaman and Wonder Woman to most recently Joker. I would say this is lines a bit more on Joker, not quite as intense, but along that line. So this, again, the heavy topic that's inside of this film, or it's actually multiple heavy topics, and such as adult themes, I'm just letting you know, do not go into this film expecting to see an action-packed film. This is very much that of a action, not really action, it's more of a mystery crime noir. So if you like noir films, such as myself, or that type of style, neo noir, which is like a Blade Runner, you would like this film. The pacing is quite slower. The action is not, it's barely there. There's probably like 3 action scenes. So, once again, I'm cautioning you towards that. So, this movie is 3 hours long. This is the reason why I'm saying this, because if you go into the theater and you're expecting like an action-packed movie, and you're right there watching a crime thriller type film, you might get so distant from the film and you just lose everything that you're expecting. I personally like to go into a movie without any type of expectations or any type of like, I need to go to the right mindset. I think it's a bunch of crap when people say that. I believe a good movie is a good movie no matter what. So it could be a short film, it could be a long film, as long as the film and its storytelling and the way it delivers it, if it's good, it's good. That's me. So that's me telling you about what you should have thinking, wanting, expecting, prepare yourself for this film. I believe this film will create quite a divisive type of audience. Like, you will hear a large amount of people saying they hate it, a large amount of people say they love it. This happened the same way with Joker, as I just brought up earlier. For some reason, that film, I loved it. But there's people who I know absolutely cannot stand it, and they think it was a weak, poor filmmaking. And my mind's blown, because I don't understand how they find that film so horrible. So I am believing people will do the same thing with this film. This film, like I said, is very slow in its storytelling, but it's very effective. And the pacing doesn't really, it's not a bad pacing at all. It's a good pace. It tells you exactly what I believe I would want in a crime film. I know I'm not really getting into the story or what the story of the film is. I don't believe I have to. If you have seen the trailers, if you haven't seen the trailers, again, I don't think I have to much, other than this is not the very start of Batman. This is like in the early of his career, Bruce Wayne as Batman, but it's not the very beginning. This is probably more of a beginning for Catwoman, Selina Kyle, and a beginning for certain other characters, but not for Batman or Lieutenant Gordon. We begin already seeing him into a case, so it helps, because, you know, I don't know how many times I have to see Batman's parents die and get shot, and that's one thing I would say I appreciate in this film. I'm not going to spoil into this film, but just it's not doing that, and I'm so thankful it doesn't do that to the film. I am thankful this film takes not the so popular action and so much into the gadgets. There is gadgets, but it's not so much where it takes away the focus of Batman. I love the way how Robert Pattinson plays Bruce Wayne Batman. I love the way how everyone plays their characters. And I believe there were smart choices. I believe they were the best choices they could have made towards making this film. Another thing I loved in this movie is the music. Oh my goodness, the score, it is amazing. I mean, I can't remember the person's name. I can't, it's not that I can't remember, I can't pronounce his last name. It's probably because I don't know. But when I looked him up and I realized he did music for The Incredibles. He did the music for Disney Pixar's Up. And hearing this, there was loads of other movies. I'm just not going to list them off. But you have to check this guy out. He has made some fantastic music, and his music is phenomenal. It's like its own theme. Everybody knows the Danny Elfman's Batman song because it's played so much. This is a great one because it also has that type of mystery horror theme to it. And that's another thing I appreciate with this Batman is that whenever he's on the screen, you feel this sense of fear, the sense of anger, and some sense of horror is about to happen with his presence confronting whatever enemies or foe that comes in front of him. It's really fantastic. I just believe this Batman may be a bit too bleak or too dark for many people. It will feel very depressing, but the way how Robert Pattinson has his Batman, I think it does it just right because Batman was always like the eye candy of every woman comes across, the Gotham's playboy. This one, he doesn't play that so much. He plays that he's so distant and he's so far off from being around so many people, he doesn't even know how to interact with people. And I love that because he knows how to interact, but towards a certain limit. Like he doesn't know exactly what to say to certain people because he's so distant from them. I like this version of him. It shows that he's an actual human being and that he can actually feel feelings. Also, he is so distant, he doesn't talk very much in this film. He's spent so much time observing and looking and just, you can see in this facial reactions, which I love in silent films, like silent acting. It's more about the facial features and just him just standing off and just observing whatever he's doing because he is a detective, what to do next. And he doesn't have to say too much, but just enough people when they look at him and they see, they're like, okay, I don't want to mess with this person. I personally love the looks of the costumes. I think there's been some complaints about how the costumes look. I enjoy it. I think it fits on just well. I don't have to have it looking exactly like the comics. I know that's a common thing where people will argue. Like, Riddler costume does not look anything like the comic books. And I'm thankful because it will look too cheesy, too corny. It will look like something that off of Batman and Robin or whatever, and I don't want that. I personally never liked the Jim Carrey Riddler. That's me. I thought it was always way too over the top. This one, I very much enjoy. It felt very real. It felt like something that if someone today was to be in that same exact type of person in this terroristic form, that's exactly how this person would be. The way he comes off is so horrifying. I think it's more horrifying when it shows his mask off and how he is underneath it. I think that was the scarier part because him with the mask, it felt very kind of manic like with his terroristic form, but when he took it off, it felt like his true form unleashed, and it was really crazy watching how Paul Dano really portrays his character. I very much enjoyed watching Colin Farrell into his role as the Penguin. I wish there was much more of him because he is such a great, phenomenal actor, and his range of his voice is, I didn't even realize his voice, his looks, everything was so completely different from what he actually looks like. I mean, look at this picture right here from him before and after makeup, and I'm telling you, it is crazy how great he is as an actor. Andy Serkis as the butler, fantastic. Love him. I think he's probably one of the best butlers. In fact, I don't think there's ever been a bad butler for Batman. I can't think of anyone that's actually not been good. I liked every single one that ever played as Alfred, so I don't know what to say. He just plays a different form of the butler, and he looks like someone that actually would fight back if he had to. I'm just going to say this is one of the best movies I've seen for this year. And I know I haven't reviewed anything else on this channel, but this is freaking phenomenal. I love it. When it comes on Blu-ray, I'm buying this. Blu-ray, 4K, whatever. I'm getting this movie. This movie is great. I will watch it again. This movie is 3 hours long. I don't know what to say about it because I like longer films if it's done right. Like Dune, when I watched that, loved it. It didn't felt like it was that 3 hours or 4 hours or whatever it was. It felt just right. This movie feels just right. I will say that for those who are curious, when you watch the movie, there is a club bar scene where the lights does flashes, so if you're sensitive to that, I'm just letting you know ahead of time. And also there was no post-credit, in-credit scene, so I know me and many others were right there waiting for an in-credit scene. I don't know if you would call this an in-credit scene. It was like 1 second or 2 seconds. And it just had a symbol. And I'm just thinking like, oh, I could have just went the entire movie without seeing that one symbol because it didn't really mean or anything or wasn't significant. So I was fine with that. So yeah, when the movie ends, the movie's in. It's over. I'm pretty sure you're tired and you probably gotta go to the bathroom or whatever it is you have to do. So yeah, just letting you know. I love the movie. It reminded me very much like a David Fincher movie. As Denis Villeneuve, I forgot the guy's name. The movie Prisoners, if you ever seen that, loved it. The shots, fantastic. It reminded me very much of a Stanley Kubrick film. People who know me knows I very much love Stanley Kubrick films. His style, the way he made the movies, it reminded me very much like that. And this felt like a very realistic, adult comic book movie that I've been wanting to see. And finally, we get to see Batman as the world's greatest detective, what he is in the comics. So, for me, go see it. Must-see film of the year. And that is all I have to say. If you are curious for your own personal reasons, for whatever reason, here's the reason why it is rated PG-13 onto this content card. Once again, my personal opinion, it's not for kids at all. Kids will get bored. The kids in the theater that I was not with, but the kids in front of me, that was like a couple seats row, I heard them complains like, is the movie over? How much longer? I was like, yeah, I knew right then. This movie is definitely not for kids because I could see they were getting bored. They were just like jumping around in their seats because there was no action scenes because this movie is not an action film. It's a crime thriller. So that is my thoughts. That is my review. My non-spoiler review for Batman. So if you want to, if you can, you can let me know down in the comments below what were your thoughts on this video. If you want to welcome me back, say hello or something, that's your choice. I am right now been currently involved in a podcast project called The Bottom Shelf where we review bad movies and see how bad they really are. I love bad movies to a certain extent, but you know, everyone's got their own taste, so be sure to check it out and let me know if you'd like to hear a podcast for whatever reason. And that is it. That's all I have to say. So until next time, I hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you around to the next review as long as I'm still alive. You never know. Take care. Cheers.